Welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast that has the science and the screaming to unequivocally figure out what the best movie is of any given year. We have been flying right through, some are calling it the quickest season we have ever done, through 1975, and this is your ultimate finale. If you missed last week, I'd say go back and listen because we took the Elite Eight into the Final Four. I'm your host for the evening, Mike Gavrania, and with me as always are my pals, Ryan and Greg.
Woo, we are here. I'm Science, Ryan screaming. I was just thinking, there's like no science or screaming on our show.
Oh, but don't ever listen to the pre-recorded intro.
But if anybody ever tried to change it, I would freak out. If someone tried to start
quit.
Yeah, if somebody tried to start the show without saying the science and the screaming, even though it in no way represents what happens on the show.
You don't think I guess we forget the art.
Sometimes we raise our voices. The science thing, I don't even know what that means. I just think it's got a nice sound to it.
Well, in normal shows, Mike will give points. That's scientifically...
That's scientific.
Yeah. I use the scientific method to give points out.
Yeah, like a lot of times you're holding a beaker.
I often...
Or an abacus.
To smell you guys, you don't put your nose right into your friends. You waft with your hand. That's scientific.
Waft.
That's a super cool thing to do to your friends for sure.
Definitely. Nothing says like, hey, it's nice to be together again after a long break, like wafting your hand under my armpit.
I missed your scent.
Well, yeah.
And Mike, may I say, an absolute incredible use of Petri dishes so far.
Thank you.
Just one of the best parts of science.
They are all filthy. Why did science invent somewhere to put the most disgusting stuff?
I think you have to ask Dr.
Seriously.
Petri.
He's a nasty bird.
My dishes are clean, and I don't let any bacteria near them.
Gentlemen, the movies we will not be talking about today include Shampoo, The 3 Days of the Condor, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and Barry Lyndon. Are you sad about any of them?
No, that makes sense. If I'm just tuning into just this episode and it's like, why are you doing that? Stop, go back, listen to the other episode. But if I'm just tuning in, I'm like, okay, obviously that is separating the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah, I mean, the final four are just such all-timers,
and deeply upsetting that they're facing off against each other. I have a premonition about one of the next matchups, and it's just literally upsetting.
We still have a chance for a 4-way tie, right?
Yeah.
I ask this at the end of every season.
Never been done. Will finally be done.
And there's always a chance that we suddenly hear Nashville's music playing, and they come storming down, they jump in the ring.
Not even eligible,
I challenge you right here.
The thing I've forgotten most often throughout the season is that Nashville was a bonus episode, is eligible for awards.
We did our scramble to watch all the movies, and Nashville, like, it was expensive to watch it. Like I could see the other ones on the streaming services that I have. So in the scramble, I don't think anybody watched Nashville ahead of time, and Ryan probably had seen it before, but without us having seen it,
right? There's no arguing.
Yeah, but if we had it to do over again, if I had watched that in the scramble, I'm sure I would have repped for it harder. But
it was very odd. We go by Letterboxd, and we take I think 64 movies down to the Sweet 16, and a lot of times, and we don't fudge the numbers or anything. Like Letterboxd tells us what we do based on like the film's popularity when you click on 1975, and Nashville had a shockingly low seating that it kept getting banged around by I don't remember the full bracket, but some movies until it got booted.
Imagine it goes against Jaws. Imagine it goes against Dog Day Afternoon.
Right.
Like it's going to get bounced.
And that would be awesome if it was in the final four, but if it's in the top 32, like it just has to move on.
You don't even have time.
And plus, it may seem like there's no point in doing the bracket. Like, we might as well just start at 16. But
fuck you then.
If Nashville is the 32nd seed because of Letterboxd, we're sort of taking that that means that it's not that popular, I guess.
Right, and that is this is the science, Greg. We're figuring out.
We're doing it.
That's the popularity. How much does it define the year part of the equation?
But looking back on it now, and diving back into the Nashville world, and then you sort of like pick up when it's on your mind, you sort of hear or
see
read
it everywhere.
Yeah. It's a big movie. This is maybe our biggest mistake of all time.
And the truth is, when you whittle it down to 8 movies, you miss really good movies because there are more than 8 good movies that come out in a year. So there's always one or two on the outside looking in, and it's an upset. But that's just how it happens.
And that's why we had the bonus season, is to give ourselves more of a context.
Yeah.
Because despite popular belief, we were not alive and going to the cinema, listeners, in 1975.
Oh, man. I do want to give shout-outs to all of our amazing guests.
Yes.
And we'll probably do that at the end. But one, just running theme throughout all of our guests is, how old were you guys in 75 when you went to see these movies?
And some of them mean it, and that hurts the worst.
Yeah, well, we had some guests, like Van was on the show, and she's so young that she can't imagine looking at us what age we are. So, it could be anywhere from 60 to 45.
She thinks
has
Shrek
no idea.
was the first movie.
And then our good friends, and I use that with the biggest of quotes, the Unnatural 20s. This is really all they talk about now is that we are old.
Yeah. They just realized it.
Yeah.
And we all kind of went gray at the same time.
Well,
wait, they're old.
It's because they're turning 30.
Yeah.
They're freaking out about it, and so they're pointing the fingers at us.
Yeah.
For being
they don't want to look in the
30.
mirror.
Oh!
Topical tonight.
With their jaws. So maybe there's not surprises in the top 4, but award surprises so far? Anything blow you guys away?
Richard Dreyfuss.
And Goldie Hawn.
That's
our acting
quite
awards.
the duo.
Yeah. I would watch a starring romantic comedy of those two. I'd watch that vehicle. Has it happened?
I can't think of anything.
I want to watch it right now.
Richard Dreyfuss, not a big rom-com guy.
I think
Goodbye Girl?
Crush. Goodbye. I thought you said My Girl. I was like, no.
Goodbye Girl. Krippendorf's Tribe.
That's a romantic comedy between a colonizer and I don't really remember Krippendorf's Tribe.
What?
I do feel like we've already done our signature thing of using the awards as a way to recognize movies that didn't make it. And I think Nashville has gotten that, at least in the nomination category.
Yeah. Well, plus when you have 26 lead roles, then you're going to get some...
You're going to be talked about. This reminds me that it's time to talk about awards. So we're going to take a quick break and do that. Webster's dictionary defines the best sex as what I did last night.
Oh, damn!
But that's neither here nor there. Greg, best sex for a movie, what does it mean to you?
Hopefully, it will mean what I dream of it meaning is a steamy scene between two hot actors that have a lot of chemistry.
So, like Redford and Dunaway in 3 Days of the Condor,
where nobody is weirdly
at gunpoint. What if that's their kink?
Yeah. It doesn't seem to be her kink though. In that movie, I
will say, incredibly shot scene, very sexy. It just comes with all the baggage that Greg has talked about.
The baggage,
and that honestly, because we're Americans, the baggage seems to be all that we ever get in the sex category. It seems to be you put the ones that you're least horrified,
right,
up top.
So sexy sex does matter
to me, yeah.
Award.
It doesn't matter the importance of the sex in the story. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to,
or if a rape is well shot, that's probably not going to get nominated.
Yeah, it's not going to work for me because
that's not going to work for me.
I'm hoping to just have one little part of the movie where it's just hey, everybody, sex is awesome and we enjoy it and it's cool but that's not, I guess, compelling.
And that's certainly not an American movie.
No, yeah.
I mean, I do think that the more foreign movies we put into the bracket, the better this category is going to be. These nominees, because we're just so scared of it. And 1975, I mean, it's really only Shampoo. I did think going into this that we were going to get a ton of sex-forward, sex-positive movies. And they're not even really that complicated about sex. They're still such old-fashioned mores in the movies.
That's the thing, because they're all just a bunch of Don Drapers, it seems like. And so it's they've learned none of the good messages about sex. Sex isn't a place where two people go to connect in these movies. It's a place where the dominant male narrative is replayed one more time.
Or to forget the horrors of existential life.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
I do want to shout out real quick. If you go to our Apple Podcast page and you look at the reviews, a lot of it will say these three are just Don Drapers. That's based on looks.
Yeah.
We're not talking about how we treat women.
And how we look at every piece of art and say, it's about family.
That's why we're known for the shortest podcast in the biz. So, Holy Grail, about family, is that where we're at?
Holy Grail, it's about family. All right, Ryan, hit us with those noms.
Your first nominee was mentioned in last week's show as a reason to watch Barry Lyndon. It's The Coldest Orgy in 75.
Yeah.
Which we don't see much of it except for somebody coming up to Barry and saying you have a call at the front desk.
Yeah.
And he has to leave.
He looks so bored in it.
Yeah.
High as fuck, too.
It's okay, well, let's check in on the status of Barry's marriage. And it's his wife lying down with his kids and then cuts to him in a whorehouse, and he just looks
with his babies.
He's not enjoying it at all, which is a shame Because
look, if you're gonna cheat on your wife, enjoy it. That's the
right?
tips we come
Try
to.
to, love what you're doing. If you can't do what you love what you're doing.
Your next nominee is from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's the almost orgy we get.
And I remember correctly, not if I remember correctly, that both of you were anti this scene and anti Michael Palin. That's this character.
No,
right?
Michael Palin, moody favorite, takes to Brazil.
Yeah.
I thought he ruled in this movie and in this scene.
Yeah, I'm the one who was Captain Poopy Pants. I feel like he wrote himself a really... This is the problem with sex scenes in general, is that the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, but which one of these could possibly not be skeevy?
Yeah, thinking about the context of the outside.
The origin of this scene is him wanting to be with a bunch of scantily clad women who pretend like they want him so bad.
The rest of the Pythons wrote sketches.
Yeah.
And he wrote naked chicks around me, maybe.
Yeah. And so then it's like, okay, it's weird. This is a weird thing.
Look, dating was hard in 1975.
Plus, it never, he never actually gets to have sex, right?
Yeah.
No.
So that's funny.
That is true, yeah.
He likes edging. Their names were like Dorcas and Buttfart.
Yeah.
That was part of what I was so offended about. Was like, he's like, no, there should be some jokes in it. Like, what if everybody has a really, just unusual name?
And then in the commentary, it's a dual commentary because there was two directors, so I can't remember which Terry it was, but one of the Terrys said, I was really disappointed by how ugly all the girls were.
Nice.
That sounds like Gilliam.
Nice. Meanwhile, it's like, you filmed in England.
Yeah.
Wow. Ouch from Greg. Spit and fire in England.
Let's talk about something nice. What's the thing that we always talk about when it's time to talk about something nice? Your next nominee is Harry and Paula from Night Moves.
Our favorites.
Consenting adults? What?
How rare. How fun.
He boots the 15-year-old out of his little cabin so that later on he can have sex with Paula.
Get out of here, child. I'm going to have sex with an adult person.
Not all heroes wear capes. All heroes do wear condoms.
Honestly, we're kind of making fun of this, but this should be commended. Like, the movie does a lot to pat itself on the back for this.
Yeah.
But having seen everything in 75, good.
Yes.
Good that somebody's taking the position that you should just not even decide not to have sex with kids. But just, it should never even pop up. It shouldn't even be a decision that you have to make.
Talking about unsettling, except I guess this is the point of the movie, is the movie, the context, the creators of the movie are saying, isn't that crazy that he did that?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's...
And there's the additional weirdness of splicing together her 16 and 18-year-old bodies so they can show her naked. Not that the movie is free from it, but this one scene.
Yes.
And the fact that it's just consenting adults who are just like, let's have sex because we like the idea of having sex with each other.
The reason I love this movie so much is because later on, Harry puts together that Paula had sex with him in part to distract him from other plans, and he's like, oh, that hurts my feelings. Because he's a real dude.
He's just a person.
Your next nominee, normal listeners, weirdo listeners may not know this, but Patreon is getting a special episode very soon, and you may have noticed that Rocky Horror Picture Show has been missing from all the 75 talk. That's because we saved it for Patreon only.
Boom.
That show has not been released yet, but it's still eligible for awards. And for Best Sex, we have Brad and Janet getting and staying in their underwear.
Just scamping around in their underwear.
Just frolicking.
And this movie does such a good job of being like, you know what? Seeing people in their underwear is fun.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That's part of the midnight show. Seeing people in their underwear is pretty fun to go do.
Yeah, that's an expanded past this. And that, to me, that feels very, sex positive. That's fun.
I think this is, because especially shampoo. I guess shampoo is an anti-sex positive. It's making fun of the people who say they are sex positive.
But they're really just using sex as a drug.
This movie is just purely let's all fuck. We're all hot, no matter who you are or how you look, and it's a good time.
These clothes are hot no matter who wears them,
I thought that this movie, and we get into this more on the Patreon, but I thought this movie would remind me of Tommy, another movie that has been nominated for nothing so far. But this movie really reminds me more of Monty Python in that whole, it's not good.
It's not a movie.
But it's got that energy that is sort of undeniable.
It's two movies in one, which it tells you right away it's going to be.
Rocky, and then Horror Picture Show.
And then the Horror Picture Show. And that doesn't work. And so basically what you have is
it never does, people.
Yeah. The opening is very good, and then the movie sort of continues in two parts. People who have seen it 100 times still can't remember.
Yeah, when there's laser guns, and aliens,
because it goes from horror to sci-fi, But right around that time, people are checking out because there's people literally in the theater running around in their underwear.
And also at that point, it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
They say midnight show. They normally start around 1. And you're like, I just need to
the two screwdrivers
go home.
that you like pounded while you were in line are starting to catch up to you.
Yeah, you have a middle of the night hangover. Getting old's weird, man.
Your final nominee for best sex is we knew we were going to have to say George, right?
Yes.
But it's with what woman? This nominee is actually Felicia, played by Lee Grant, who won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, but was not nominated for a Moody tonight. Goldie Hawn took that one down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Lee Grant, and it's the opening sort of fumbly, bumbly around.
Yeah.
I think one of the best opening scenes of the year, if not best, in that you hear people fucking and you're like, oh, that's hot. And then you hear them, the fumble kicks in, and then the phone rings, and it like sets up everything the movie is going to talk about happens right in that scene.
Yeah, it's a great opening. Yeah, because he talks to Goldie Hawn's character, and then the woman he's with wants to go with him, but that can't happen because he's going to literally go bang another chick. And so he's like, you stay right here, and I'm going to come back, and you don't even get out of this bed, and it's going to be so hot.
And we think that like he's going to at least go see another mistress. But no, it's his actual girlfriend.
Yeah, like he is leaving the mistress to go.
It's so fun to parse out. Yeah.
But my big question would be like, it's very realistic. Like that sort of like post-coital, like, okay, we were just animals with each other, and now
we need to run away from
Yeah, now I gotta bounce. Obviously not very sexy, right? Very real, but not fun.
But I mean, we do hear the sex when we don't see it. You know, it's black for a long time, and we hear it, and I love that. Like you said, Mike, it's everything the movie's going to talk about. It's like you can't even see anything. Why are you uncomfortable right now?
Yeah,
you know, that's the movie saying that.
All right,
your nominees are Barry's Orgy, Michael Palin's Orgy, Harry and Paula, Brad and Janet, and George and Felicia.
Man, please be Rocky Horror, right?
There's the Almost Orgy, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Boo.
You're gonna boo a Moody?
How does that happen?
Booty.
I'm rechecking the envelope.
Is there another one in there?
Is this a joke win?
It's for Moonlight.
Well, that's a real shame.
All right, that's crazy.
I'm deeply disappointed.
Again, I
that.
said last week, I don't get how voting works, and this proves it.
Remember, we had so many distasteful ones.
Yeah.
Maybe that didn't get put in that category, and so it got bumped up for that because there's no actual super uncomfortableness around it. But I was really hoping for the crazy kids from the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay, so that's what wins. Let's jump right in. Do you know what's best friends with best sex? Best violence.
Oh, we're going to it right now?
Yeah.
Let's do it. What does violence mean to us? Fighting and punching? Okay. Your first nominee is from Barry Lyndon. It's the father versus stepson at the concert.
Oh, the slap fight?
Damn. Now, in a movie where you straight see like several characters get absolutely shot, there is something so visceral about this like peck and paw melee between father and son,
and it's the realism of this is how two dudes actually fight when they're at a bar.
Yes.
Like
right.
just, ew, stop, you
scratch, slap.
And there's been so much simmering tension between these two, and it comes out, and like so many other fights, it's not glorious. Violence is like almost never fun or cool. Violence is often just emotional and terrible.
Facts. Spit and fire.
It's pure facts from the Gregster about violence.
And yeah, I love this too because Barry Lyndon is another one of these 75 heroes or protagonists, we'll say, that, even though it takes place in the BC or whatever the fuck.
Long time.
It has these rules about masculinity, wants to be a man, wants to be looked at as a man, and then he just breaks.
Yeah.
And, like if you just fake like that, you will break eventually. And he's just rolling around on the ground like a little baby.
He thought he was going to outlast this kid.
Yeah.
That like one day this kid would capitulate, but the kid was too much like him. And he raised him to be just too much of an asshole, a nut too tough to crack.
Another movie that we have not mentioned so far is Death Race 2000.
Oh, yeah! Death Race!
This is a movie that's basically just violent, but the nominee tonight is the racers take out the hospital workers instead of the people in the wheelchair.
What's good about this is that's Death Race.
Yeah.
Like, that is the
that's
tone.
death race.
That's death race. That's the tone this movie is going for. You watch the characters just run down people who are trying to help the victims of previous violence.
And it's so early in the movie, like it's really letting you know.
And we see our heroes do it.
Yeah.
And it's like very campy.
I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, I don't know. It sets this tone that, you know, there's so much, and so much of the. It sets the tone. Sorry, here's the point that we're gonna watch this Looney Tune, this live action Looney Tune. You know, like to the point where we actually have somebody draw a tunnel on a wall,
and the sound effects when they hit the hospital workers are very.
Boing. Okay, so I am always surprised every time I watch Jaws by how violent it is. Like, it was this blockbuster directed by Steven Spielberg. So you're like, all right, so little kids and magic, and it's an incredibly violent movie. But our nominee, the representative, this is the only one for this, is Jaws exploding. That's the one we chose.
Because that's boss's shit.
Probably the most fantastical thing to happen in the movie. The idea that if you shoot an oxygen tank, it will explode a big shark.
If you shoot it while saying something cool, it will explode.
But yeah, I think, you know, even though we kind of come to like identify with the shark in this, ultimately we know he's got to go. You know, he's an agent of chaos, but those can't exist in perpetuity. They eventually have to go return to the deep.
If he sails away, then we'll have sequels, but it's also so that sucks for the movie so much. Like, we'll be so unresolved.
Yeah, if he's just like, bye. Yeah, wait. He gets blowed up. How are there 18
Babies.
Jaws
Yeah,
sequels?
More sharks.
And they remember. Sharks remember everything.
Revenging their mother.
When we watched it for this season, it was clear to me that like there's a lot of like intimating without ever saying that like maybe this is like a genius shark.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like the most dangerous shark of all time, maybe a tactician.
And it's like it's that size, right?
Yeah.
It is way bigger than any shark on record.
It's like a magic shark.
Yeah, so there is some magic going on.
At some point, there's going to be the biggest shark that's ever attacked somebody, and this is the movie that's going to be about it.
Until the Meg comes out.
The Meg.
I love that about us, that there's such brutal scenes, you know, the skinny dippers and the little boy. There's the guy in the rowboat who gets fucking taken out. There's Quint's death, but we were like, no. When that shark explodes, the bad guy gets it.
I mean, I'm a kid. I'm like a '90s kid, so one of the foundational aspects of a movie is that there's gonna be explosions in it. You know,
you're a '90s kid when one of the foundational movies are.
Your next nominee is from Monty Python. It is The Black Knight. Its centerpiece skit is about violence.
Yeah, this is the one everybody remembers. This is when you go to Hot Topic, there's a whole wall devoted to this scene.
It's hard to... It's like John Berger's ways of seeing, right? It's very hard to see this scene now. Divorced of years of reference, years of commodification of it. But...
I think we talked a lot in the episode about how much the movie has been ruined by dorks like us.
Yeah, definitely. But when you are a serious movie reviewer like we are, and you're able to peer through that and pierce that veil, what you've got is a great bit. Yeah. It really does work. It's well shot. It's with no budget. It's hard to hack people's limbs off, and they did a good job with it.
I think
funny.
It's a good example. I don't know if this makes sense, but like a good thing to show, a good example of British comedy to show an American, you know, like the absurdity and the length. How it just keeps going is very British, but there's blood, so Americans can watch it.
Yeah, we look blood. I also, he's prototypical Michael Scott. An absurd amount of confidence for somebody who's pretty bad at what they do.
A Will Ferrell character.
Yeah. And we love that.
And your final nominee is Harry and Tanaka Ken versus the entire Yakuza.
Okay, so ultimately... This movie wants to be like a contemplation and a character study.
But we have to sell tickets.
And when I was reviewing all these myself for what I was going to vote for, I was like, okay, this is a lengthy sword fight.
Yeah.
In the context of the movie, I was like, this is probably too much. In the context of best violence, I was like, this is the only katana-based sword fight in this entire catalog.
It's a sword fight so long you watch all participants get out of breath.
Exhausted.
They take a time out.
Imagine like when we think of a sword, for whatever reason, we think of it as being light, but they're like 6 feet of steel.
They're heavy.
You gotta swing those things around all day.
Did that happen in the Expendables movies? Because that whole gimmick is how old they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like how everybody in this movie is pushing 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to put this in the movie of like, hold on, Like, time out.
And after all of that, one more Yakuza guy shows up, and they're like, oh, shit.
No, he's young.
I'm starting to get so sore. Stay warm. Stay warm, Ken. Move your legs.
So your nominees are The Father versus the Stepson, Barry Lyndon. The Racers take out the hospital workers from Death Race. Jaws explodes. The Black Knight from Monty Python, and Harry and Tanaka Ken versus the entire Yakuza.
See, these are almost all more fun than the sex.
Envelope,
Yeah, that's so weird. That's
in
messed
America,
up.
Violence is sex, which is a problem.
We're going to get to that next, everybody.
Father versus Stepson,
Yeah.
Barry Lyndon. These awards are surprising, and I love it.
This is because this is the heart of violence. The heart of violence is a father and son just like rolling around on the ground, smacking at each other.
It's what we want to do to our fathers.
Yeah.
It's what we want to do to our sons.
And we could finally take our dads.
Yeah, dude.
We're ready. We're
Especially if
ready.
we strangers on a train it. Greg, you take my dad. I take Ryan's dad. Ryan, you take Greg's dad. All right, that is best sex. That is best violence. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, start making some movies fight.
Recording.
Taste buds, it's gonna hurt right now. It's Jaws versus Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah.
Beast versus Beast.
So, on a very fundamental level, this was always going to happen. It's just we thought maybe it would be the finals and not.
Does this feel like the final, Liam?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. You've got the most 75 movie of all time, which is Dog Day Afternoon, but that's not the only thing we consider. The origin of the modern blockbuster, probably like a movie that helped create the idea that there would be a podcast like this, is Jaws. So it's the two titans of the year, and whoever wins this, I think is probably going to do pretty well in the next round as well.
Greg hates sports. I think that Dog Day Afternoon was, again, like I mentioned this last week, but the revelation that watching you guys have of, you guys were both so excited about the season, but what Dog Day did to you guys, I thought was so important for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Just to get pumped up about how films work in this year.
Right.
And we've only done years of our lifetimes before, and they're very different than this year.
Very different.
So we sort of thought that like good movies work like this, and you trick yourself if you just watch from a particular era, you sort of trick yourself into thinking that Dog Day was the movie that set this season aflame.
Yeah, not just what it does artistically, which is so much, but I thought I was too old to have a new favorite movie. Like, at a certain point, you're just like, you can't do that anymore.
It went past Hocus Pocus?
It's no longer...
Move over, Hocus
So
Pocus.
now it's Dog Day Afternoon, Hocus Pocus. So that's where I'm at.
And then Hocus Pocus.
Why isn't that a movie? I want that cinematic universe.
And Jaws is a movie that while
True.
you're watching it, you feel like, I forgot how good this was. I forgot how good every single second of this was.
That's the thing, ultimately, to me, is that and we talked about this on the show, there's so much of Jaws is not forgettable. It's just that there's so much to it that you inevitably, and I think the example I used on our episode was the two guys on the dock.
Yeah.
And the dock just gets taken away. Jaws has so many moments that a scene that could be number one in so many other movies is like number 25. I don't want to go chalk, in these seasons. But while I was watching Jaws, I was like, fuck.
It does so well as a horror. Like, those parts are scary when the shark is as an allegory for how politics are bumfucked. I think why you forget is also because of the first blockbuster thing, and blockbusters are so dumb these days.
Yeah.
Your skyscrapers, your what's the earthquake one? I got to think of non-rock movies like
Volcano.
Well, yeah. So like, they're so big and dumb and have
San
nothing
Andreas.
to say. San Andreas, thank you. Your Jumanjis, that you forget that Jaws is a blockbuster and doing a lot more than blockbusters do.
I mean, the first 10 minutes, we almost did a segment where we just walked through the first 10 minutes and how literally every frame is important to the past, the present, or the future of that movie. That's just not what you expect from a movie like this.
Yeah.
And maybe one of the first times a movie showed us that if you are a New York cop, there's literally no other job that you wouldn't be perfect at. You're a New York cop? Oh, well, you'll be great at fighting a shark. Right away, like, he starts doing the research and going into it.
Encyclopedic research, too.
Yeah, like, literally, like, looking through an encyclopedia.
Oh, that's a shark.
Okay, that's what they look like. They're sort of missile-shaped.
I also love, maybe not for Mike because his second favorite movie is Hook, but for me and Greg, it's easy to forget about Spielberg. I think this is the third episode we've done. Right, we did a Patreon for AI, and Color Purple was in the 85 bracket. I believe
that guy's career is fucking insane.
Color Purple was a Patreon too.
Yeah.
And we just remember the war horses of it all, like this schmaltzy guy who kind of lost it.
His old tired movies, right?
Right, and we don't even remember why he had it. You know, it was so long ago. But Jesus Christ, now I remember.
Yeah, and I would love for him to be like, I can tackle horror again. Like, I want to see what he's got because, it's even if you go past War Horses, it's E.T. and you're like, I bet E.T.'s similar to Jaws, where you're like, all right, the moon and the kid feels
it's
something.
Pretty good,
whatever.
Right? Whatever.
But I bet watching it that it's packed.
His next movie is a hardcore gang movie. Is that horrifying to you?
Yes.
Okay.
What?
West Side Story.
Oh, yeah. He's going back to his roots with sharks.
But for all the talk of like the sharkedness of Jaws, I remember the shot that I was most impressed with in that movie was when they take the ferry across, and just like that one continuous shot of the conversation that they have while they board the ferry and go across it. It's like he always finds a way to inject action and intrigue into a shot, even if it's kind of mundane.
And it's so crazy that you can feel, sort of like when you're watching Reservoir Dogs or Mean Streets, you can feel the, like, so often youth and inexperience is such a bad thing. You know, like we see so many videos on the internet where youth and inexperience is terrible, but that you feel the whole like, I don't know, put it at the edge of the ferry and we'll film it that way.
Where
like,
an older Spielberg or lesser director would just be like, they're in an office, right? You set up the camera, they're talking.
I actually have to go, but some assistant director will do this.
I want to film outside in the daytime. But Dog Day. If you wanted to like talk film with somebody, I think Dog Day is going to lead to more interesting conversations and really did set the stage for understanding 75.
But see, I disagree with that. That's the thing, is that I love Dog Day, but I think Jaws has it in the conversations as well. With the filming, with the structure, with the, like, I think there's more to thematically break down. Like, I think it's arguably the best movie of all time. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to win this because we do different things here. It's not just a ranking, but I give that, I think that gives Jaws short shrift.
Yeah. Maybe it's because it feels like there's a more academic, or maybe because there's not a big fucking shark eating people. Like maybe that's all it is that like you automatically
like how we go against comedies, we go against genres as a society.
Hey Greg, the shark in Dog Day, it's capitalism.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the system itself, right?
It's chewing everybody up.
And both movies have like the crowd being like
dumb as hell.
Yeah, dumb and like but not just unreliable,
but like dumber than they are individually.
Yeah,
you know, that whole like mob mentality.
And violent, and always on the edge of losing it.
Yeah, it's, do you want the thinkier version of that, or do you want the shark chewing people up, exploding version of that?
Can I just say to Mr. Lumet, who is dead, and Mr. Spielberg, who will die one day, thank you. I don't know who's going to win or lose, but thank you to both of you for these two movies.
Yes. And
I mean, they were paid for them. They were
the money.
They were compensated. So they don't need to be thanked by us. It's just their job.
That's like saying I don't need a tip. They're getting paid.
If I were to say, you guys hate this question, I ask all the fucking time anyway. If I were to say, we're going to pop one in right now, we're going to watch a movie, what movie would you rather watch?
I mean, not only is it a terrible question that we both hate, but I also think that we're weird, you know, because we might say Mir.
Right.
You know, that sounds so fucking like sucking our own dicks bullshit. Like, we love film. But I think that question doesn't work because, you know, sometimes we just, watching Mir for a third time sounds good. I still think it's Jaws, though.
But I think it's different. We're recording versus if you ask me in 8 hours, my mood will be different. I'll be much drunker. So,
because for me,
no matter when you ask, 8 hours from now, Mike will be drunker.
For me, there's almost no situation in which I would rather watch Dog Day Afternoon than Jaws. Jaws is like, like you could almost any situation you could pop Jaws in, and it's got comedy, it's got drama, it's got action, it's got a little bit of sex, a little bit of skinny dipping in there.
You got a great singing scene.
It basically moves through all the genres, like one at a time, in a very orderly way. And then there are a lot of shots that are just so fun. The other one is when they're walking and the whole time they're having a conversation, and then they like stop at this perfectly framed shot of the billboard, which has been defaced to add a shark attack to it.
I mean, there's a point where Brody points down and Richard Dreyfuss like, oh, I'm sorry, and then moves over so he actually hits his mark, and then they keep talking. Like, that's how perfectly framed it is.
All right, we have to vote. Ryan.
It's Jaws.
Greg.
I think for me, Dog Day Afternoon is 1975. There's no separation in there for me. And so, and in such a big way that even though Jaws is a more fun movie, Dog Day Afternoon just like kind of changed my relationship to film, and it helped me understand 75.
Mike, has your vote mattered yet?
No, I think this is the first time it's mattered. Can we hold hands?
Take it away, kiddo.
You guys can hold each other's hands too.
You asked for a lot as a host.
It's Dog Day Afternoon. I'm sorry, Ryan. For all the reasons Greg said. And more, and smarter.
We might lose our podcasting license. This time, I'm serious.
The best movie of all time is not the best movie of 75. Where's your science now, God?
Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah, Dog Day Afternoon I don't know if my brain changed after watching Jaws.
I think one thing that might have hurt Jaws to me is I have seen it so many times, and it's impossible to really probably strip away all those other times I've watched it. I had never seen Dog Day, and so I was absolutely I was gobsmacked.
Let's have Greg try to strip away, and then let's do a revote.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, see if that can happen. When we come back, awards.
Well, that is very, very funny. Or very sad, and perhaps now you have something to think about. Or very problematic, and perhaps we have something to think about. But in any event, I'm sure you have some reaction to what you're listening to. So why not check us out on the social media? You can go to Instagram or Twitter and find us at YourPopFilter. Email contacts@YourPopFilter. Hey, everybody. Keep watching them movies.
We are back to awards, starting with one of my favorites. Musical moments of the season.
Your first musical moment is from Nashville.
Yeah,
which
that makes sense.
I'm going to have to describe a lot of these because there are 300, I believe.
12 hours of music or something.
Yeah, every character has 3 unique songs.
That a lot of them wrote themselves, which is such an impressive part of the making of that movie. But this one is, I think, the Oscar winner. So we fucked up. We copied the Oscars. This nominee is Keith Carradine singing "I'm Easy."
Oh,
while staring at Lily Tomlin in the back of the bar.
Oh, that is a good scene.
Very like laid back, very 70s sound.
Every woman in the bar assumes, because he does the interlude, it's about a special someone who showed up, he didn't think he'd see her.
Yeah.
He's like the rocker, right? Who's sort of in the folk scene.
Yeah, he's
just banging everybody, and like he's shampoo style, leaving the bed of one to go to another.
I mean, when Lily Tomlin leaves, he calls another girl, but only to make Lily Tomlin jealous.
Yes.
This is the Peter, Paul, and Mary in a world where one of them left and went solo and became a star on their own. And there's a scene where Paul and Mary are in the audience pissed.
Yeah.
And so he gets them on stage.
But also, when he uncorks this song, you've kind of hated him. You've hated that he's separating them. You've hated that he's just banging everybody around. But he starts performing this song, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
He's way more talented.
Wait, that's right. Long-haired dude with a guitar? I got it.
Yeah. They will always be the best.
Your next nominee is from, it's a musical moment from Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is, I believe, a pair of lips singing science fiction double feature.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Inarguably iconic. It could have been for best sex, the way the lips bite themselves.
Damn, dude.
I want Twizzlers just thinking about it.
Yeah. It's a gold shimmery outfit. Columbia. It's her lips. Fucking awesome.
And really, lets you know what to expect. Kind of sets the stage for you.
Yeah, it tells you the plot, so you're not worried about what's going on anymore.
The thing I appreciate it most is the lyrics, because remember when Grindhouse came out and nobody liked it because we didn't understand what a Grindhouse theater was?
Yeah.
It's like a double feature, and a lot of people just walked out after the first movie because they literally didn't understand the
movie
concept.
done, going home now.
And I love how everybody in the audience said that before they left. But this is listing references and like what influenced the movie. Like it literally is just a list of things that they like.
Yeah. And again, the movie shouldn't be a double feature. No. A movie should just be one movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially this movie is long and meandering at a certain point, so it should not be. Maybe something punchy before it if you're going to double it up.
Yeah, Rocky Horror Picture, maybe a tight 70? 65 maybe? I'm not sure how long it really is, but that would be a good length for
3 hours.
Yeah.
But in the middle of the night. Have you guys been, it's fucking so long and you're so tired.
I
cannot stress that enough.
I've only seen it a couple of times, and I think it feels different when you're at home watching it than when you are,
Well, you guys dressed up, though, when you watched it, right?
Yeah, of course.
You have to.
Yeah. I find any excuse I have to slip on a pair of my wife's panties, I'm doing it. So,
if Nashville and Rocky are musicals, then this is our only non-musical nominee of the night. It's "Show Me the Way to Go Home" from Jaws.
This song is in my head all the time. It's just them drunkenly.
I want to
go home. It is again, see yourself on screen is always nice. And
is this the first podcast?
They go through all of the emotions in that song of like, we're having fun and drinking, and then oh no, I'm thinking about the lyrics. Are we gonna go home? Like it's fucking
it gets
powerful.
violent. There's like a very sexual vibe to like their sort of interaction.
Oh yeah, they start wrapping limbs around each other.
Yeah.
In a way with like the day before they would not have touched each other.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you've
being on a boat and a little bit of liquor changes a lot of things.
You've been at sea for 7 hours. Like, obviously, if you're going to be out on the water for a few days, but 7 hours? Come on, guys. Let's keep it together.
Spoken like a man who's never been on the sea.
We have been on the sea for about that time, the three of us, and it got a little erotic.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it was erotic before we got on the boat. So.
It almost always is.
Yeah.
But our "Show Me the Way You Want to Go Home" was a little on the nose. I'm on a boat.
Speaking of a little erotic, it's "Sweet Transvestite" from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I think straight up the best song in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty. That's
is
a
that
popular
everybody?
opinion.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
For sure.
I know just Time Warp gets so much play, but when you actually stack it up, like thinking about it for this award, I was like, Time Warp is dumb as hell.
Yeah. I think I like Time Warp is a fun song, but this is the song. This is the entire movie. It's Tim Curry centric. You're getting exactly what you want out of the experience of the movie.
So sexy.
So sexy. Your final nominee is from Nashville. It's "It Don't Worry Me." And "It Don't Worry Me" is the song that is sang at the very end after the assassination attempt. Somebody comes out, picks up the mic, and sort of brings everyone together. By this, mostly it's just those words repeated over and over again, endlessly. But people forget about that assassination pretty quick and just start singing the song.
And it's so powerful, especially if the crowd didn't get to watch the whole movie like we did, but that you've seen her in the background scenes failing throughout the movie, and then you're like, she's the one doing it now.
And there's things she says in the movie that she says in the song. And, you've seen her as like the real spirit that has been lost.
Yeah.
That finds its way back in like the darkest moment.
And I love the whole, like, we have to move on.
Yeah.
We have to keep living after all the assassinations that happened in the 60s, but also just the price of fame is that you have to take
Dance
your
monkey.
moment disregarding like everything else around you.
Right.
All right, so your nominees are from Nashville, "I'm Easy" and "It Don't Worry Me." From Rocky Horror, it's "Science Fiction" and "Sweet Transvestite." And from Jaws, "Show Me the Way to Go Home."
Ryan, are you upset there's no Tommy in here?
I think the only one that I'm really upset about, I thought Pinball Wizard was sort of like a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Because Elton John's in it.
Sure.
But the one that I'm bummed about is Champagne, where Anne Margaret
rolls in the beans?
Rolls around in beans. And then some kids behind her stood up and said she's rolling around in beans. And everyone laughed at her.
All right. Your musical moment of 1975 is "Sweet Transvestite" from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Jaws is just... Did you guys watch Jaws? Did you guys...
You think I Want to Go Home
didn't
should have
watch
won?
Jaws.
You think this is as big an upset as when Jaws lost the
I
Dog
forgot
Day
about
Afternoon?
that. Now I'm doubly mad.
Your next award is biggest shithead, Ryan. Take it away.
There's sort of a feeling there, like he's almost calling you the biggest shithead.
All right, so biggest shithead of the movie. Who do you want to punch the most? Not necessarily the antagonist, but the biggest shithead, I guess.
Yeah, it's like not the person that does the worst things. It's not a villain.
It almost can't be the villain.
It's we'd say the Ellis Award from Die Hard.
It's not the bad guy from Die Hard. It's just the shithead.
Have we talked about how hard that guy's life was? How he was a super nice guy, and like it was hard for him to find work, either acting or otherwise, after that movie.
I think about the kid who played Joffrey in Game of Thrones all the time and weep for him. Like,
your first nominee is from Barry Lyndon. Oh, this is another 6-1. So
nice.
Just
there's a lot of shitheads.
Incredible shitheads of 75. First one is Barry Lyndon. It's John Quinn. This is the guy who actually does marry the cousin.
Yeah. I'm not accustomed to being treated in this manner. He's like always so offended. Ladies must not. Gentlemen must leave the field when ladies exchange gifts with other gentlemen.
Barry Lyndon has a lot of George from Shampoo himbo energy.
Yeah.
And you can see how it makes dudes upset just standing around him, you know?
Yeah.
And eventually Barry Lyndon does like throw food or wine at him.
Right.
But before that, he's just standing there, just like doing his little jive. And it makes people like John Quinn infuriated.
He is just like that aristocratic, you should just give me the respect no matter what.
I'm an Englishman, and I'm amongst the Irishmen.
Ugh.
And they should just kind of genuflect anytime I do anything. So then when they act Irish, and pop off, then he gets upset, yeah.
When he did a jig with a potato, yeah. Your next one is from The Day of the Locust. It's Adore.
Yeah. See, this is where it's like, you don't have to be a villain who takes people's lives. This is a child.
Mm-hmm. This is a small boy.
So it's not a literal door.
No.
Adore. It's played by Jackie Earle Haley from Bad News Bears.
He only plays shitheads, though, right?
And from Watchmen.
From Watchmen, yeah. This is Rorschach.
Freddy Krueger, the reboot.
And this little
but he's
girl,
like 10 here.
And he's playing a little girl, I think. This little girl is so annoying that when a character stomps her to death, you're like, well, like she wouldn't stop singing that song.
Tell me I wanna go.
She sings Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, where'd you get them peepers?
Yes.
Why wasn't that nominated for musical moment?
Oh, man. But yeah, so I think this little girl who does die in the movie might win biggest shithead.
Mike, do me a favor because you didn't watch the movie, and everybody listening at home, flatten out your hands and put your thumbs to your temples. And then put one hand down and then the other hand down.
Yeah.
This character is the living embodiment of that fucking bullshit. Like with your tongue stuck out and just torments this giant man until he has no choice but to stomp her to death.
Seemingly inoffensive. Man, like the only bad thing he really does is he stomps this child to death.
If we're even sure that's bad.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Your next one, I guess I'm going to have to explain to you. This is Mayor Vaughn from Jaws, and as two people who did not watch the movie, this was the guy. This was like a little Trumpy mayor who thought that it was more important to keep the beach open than protect people's lives.
The guy with little anchors on his
I was going to say,
jacket?
Gotta love the suit.
killer fashion. I cannot wait till my custom.
Wait, are you the mayor of a maritime town?
How did you
do
know?
You see my jacket? Of course I am.
A sash that said mayor of a maritime town would have not been more obvious than that suit.
He not only demands that the beaches be left open, he walks up to a city councilman and is like, get your family out into the shark waters right now.
Dude.
Go serve up your fucking kid to the shark for my town.
And it's crazy that they do. They're like, I guess we should feed our kids to
he is the mayor.
jaws of death.
I don't understand who that person is because mayors actually have no power.
Right.
They actually try to earn their power from like donors, or that's how all politicians. This guy can't be a donor because that's not how you. Who is this person?
I mean, Carcetti got people to do things on The Wire, so it's just like it's all about deals.
Well, he's also what's his name?
Littlefinger.
So, this is the perfect example of biggest shithead because Jaws. That's probably the bad guy of this movie.
Yeah,
but not
definitely.
a shithead. Jaws is not a shithead.
No, I mean,
Jaws is a cool bro.
The movie goes out of its way to be like, this is actually a cool shark. And if the
It's
thing,
wearing puka shells.
yeah, if the thing it were doing was not eating humans, I think we could probably get along with this
Yeah,
shark.
we go
But
out karaoke or whatever.
got to draw the line.
Your next nominee is from Salo. It's the president.
Yeah, so there's a lot of shitheads and there's a lot of shit-eating grins in Sallow.
Why is the president the lone nominee, Mike?
The president is somebody I feel like disrespectfully called him the googly eyes on that episode. And he always has the smirk. Other people sometimes seem like, never conflicted, but like, there's a compulsion I have to do this. And he's always like, isn't this a larf?
They're either doing their duty or eating their duty.
And he really wants to be a jackass. And it feels like this guy is upset he was the president and not a jester. And he just like wants to make everybody laugh and he's not funny.
There's this impression that these 4 fascist rulers, so it's the president, the duke, the
magistrate.
Yeah, it's just names for leaders. And 3 of them are really controlled by the law, like we're fascists, so we have to do this. And then like their horniness, like our penis controls us. That's why we have to do these things.
Yeah.
And this guy is just different than them.
The president, I think, why he's the biggest shithead is they're eating a nice dinner. It's before poop eating starts. They're eating an actual meal.
Thank you for clarifying.
And one of the soldiers hilariously starts raping one of the serving girls. And so the president goes, I don't like the attention the soldier's getting, and just starts mooning people, showing everybody his butt. That's his big bit.
But
while they're trying to eat.
Mooning is showing people your butt.
Yeah, he's
this
doing
is
whole
showing butthole.
Spread cheeks fruit bowl. Yeah. Wow. He just calmly looks at them, shows him his butt, and then moves on.
But it's like let's say you're at a wedding, right? All the tables are close together. So he goes to table 5 and he's like, haha, look at this. Table 6 is watching that. Then he goes to table 6 and he's like, I have a surprise for you guys.
And looks so upset that they are not reacting the way he wants them to react.
Like, I'm going to say the president, not a good guy.
No.
Sounds like a shithead.
Your next nominee is from Shampoo. This is... Okay, so Johnny Pope is not going to come off as much of a shithead compared to the president from Salo.
Right.
But is he still a shithead at all? Johnny Pope is Goldie Hawn's date. Sort of like this tinted glasses sort of producer.
Jason Schwartzman type, I would say.
Yeah, I would say he gets he's implicated. You get the sense that he's like the next shithead. The next shithead to come down.
He's envious of shitheads.
Yeah, so he's like a future shithead. He's this type of guy who like almost, it comes off like he doesn't have the courage to be a shithead, but he's like sort of developing that courage by like this series of mistreating women on a small scale.
Do you know what he is more than that? Is he is a shithead commentator. Like he's like in the booth saying like, oh, why did that guy go over there? He did this because of this. Like he sort of knows all of the moves.
He knows the moves and also thinks he's better and will try to get women by pointing out that other dudes are shitheads while being a shithead, because he's also trying to cast Goldie Hawn in his movie while trying to fuck her that night.
Right.
Like, because he's like, well, I'm pointing out other guys are shitheads, so how could I be a shithead? Kind of shit.
Yeah.
I gotta say, man, if your name is Johnny Pope, you're not gonna be a shithead.
Johnny Pope.
Your final nominee is from the Yakuza. It's George Tanner, which is Robert Mitchum's like best friend.
Okay. This guy is a shithead.
Yeah.
He is absolutely drowning, and he reaches out and he grabs a friend from his past and pulls him into it, and then later is kind of like, yeah, well, I'm a shithead.
I'm George Tanner.
Like he honestly uses several times the excuse, I'm a shithead.
Yeah.
I'm just a big shithead.
To Robert Mitchum and to the Yakuza.
Yeah.
The Yakuza are like, you can't do this. You can't screw over because we're the Yakuza. And he's like,
George Tanner.
I'm just a big shitty.
With the Yakuza, it works.
Yeah,
they're like, I guess
it does.
you are. Let's be friends again.
They're not sure what to do. They're like, but we use swords on people. And he's like, I don't know.
No,
sorry.
please don't, though.
But also,
what if we kill one of my old friends?
Okay, you're in charge of the Yakuza now.
But with Robert Mitchum, it sort of works too, just because, I mean, that's how friends work. Like when you're friends with dudes, this is sort of how it works. And Robert Mitchum's past love is like, do you not see this?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't. But if it turns out to be true, which it does, what am I going to do? It's just a guy.
Kill
He's
him,
just a
which
guy.
I do love. If George Tanner got away with it, I would be furious.
So your nominees are John Quinn from Barry Lyndon, Adore from The Day of the Locust. This is a heated battle right now.
Yeah, dude.
Mayor Vaughn from Jaws, the President from Salo, Johnny Pope from Shampoo, and George Tanner from the Yakuza.
So whoever wins this will be stomped to death by that giant man. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
And Adore, if it's not Adore, we'll come back to life.
Your winner of Biggest Shithead of 1975 is the President from Salo.
Hey, Salo got an award.
Fuck. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more battles. Hola, Filterinos. I just wanted to interrupt real briefly and say thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. If you want to support us a little more directly, you can go to patreon.com/yourpopfilter. There, depending on what tier you pick, $1 a month, $5 a month. If you're crazy, anything more than $5 a month, don't do that. You can get extra content. There's extra shows, extra series, behind-the-scenes stuff. You could pay for Ryan to draw you a picture. I can write you a poem. You can get the shirts off our very own backs. All of that and so much more over at patreon.com/yourpopfilter. While you're on the internet, you should check out Shady Monk. He does all the tunes you've been listening to. He's on Bandcamp. He's on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever kids get their music these days that I'm too old to know. Shady Monk lives there. You can probably follow him on Twitter and Instagram as well. That's Shady Monk. Wherever you get music, check him out. Taste buds, this is our penultimate battle. Mirror versus One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Now, this is a great matchup because we are definitely looking at a very 1975 movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, second movie of all time to win the top 5 Oscars.
Yeah.
And then an extremely good movie that I don't think anybody in 75 knew anything about, and that nobody
to this day most people don't.
I mean, it had a Criterion release, and right when we were recording, in fact, I think I asked you to push it up.
Yes, so
a couple weeks so I could get it, which is such a weird synchronization there. But this, so what you're saying, Greg, is this really challenges what it means to be movie of the year.
Yeah, because we always talk about it, it's a bunch of different things. It's not just that you're really good. It's not, but one of them is that how much you are associated with the year. And if I say to you 75, someone's going to go Dog Day or they're going to go Jaws, right? But nobody's going to be like Mirror. Maybe one person in America would do that.
Somebody's going to go Mandingo, and you should stay away from that person.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody goes Dolomite. That person's probably fun.
That's probably fun.
So it's quality over year.
And not that One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a bad movie.
It's not bad.
But if you watch these movies back to back, it's like what you said earlier, Ryan. One of them feels like, okay, this is definitely a mass-produced, this is a movie for the masses versus this is a movie for people. Mirror being a movie for people that really want to analyze what they're watching and try to figure it out.
Do you feel like a shithead when you say things like that?
No, because I think it's
I always do.
It's part.
When Greg says it, you feel like a shithead.
I always feel
it's part of the DNA of the show. I think
we're shitheads. We are the biggest shitheads.
Yeah,
but no, I think it's a Greg line I think about a lot, and these two movies have it. Is movies can be so many things, and isn't that crazy that these are the same thing? Because we do have just normal narrative, mass-produced thing, and then a poem, a visual poem. That's what Mirror is. And
honestly, in this situation that we're in right now, I wish that One Flew had been as bad or annoying as I thought it was going to be before we watched it.
For sure. I think the most shocking thing of the whole season is I went arms crossed, be like, all right, 1975's Crash, show me what's up.
And then instead it was like, oh wow, this is a very entertaining, very thought-provoking, very interesting, and obviously incredibly influential movie.
Is it the most entertaining movie? Maybe Jaws is.
No, yeah, Jaws.
The blockbuster.
But this is probably the second one, yeah.
Yeah, over all these movies that we talked about, I would say more than 3 days. This is such popcorn entertainment,
And I just keep thinking of, remember when Chief gets good at basketball, the way he walks afterwards?
Yeah,
I've been walking
That's
around my
swagger.
neighborhood in the mornings, and that's how I've been walking, dude.
Well, Best Strut is coming for an award,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Well, there's one nominee because there's a clear winner.
But Mirror, is one of these movies that I think of as, changing my relationship with cinema.
Sure.
Right? What was it? Come Away was another one.
Come and See.
Come and See was another one.
Those were two.
Yeah, just all of these, Far and Away, Fargo. I mean, really, some of the classics. But I was so challenged by it, and then it took me on such a journey, and really trying to figure out what was going on and figure out what it meant, and then finally giving over to being but also feeling it.
Yeah,
and that shithead feeling that I get, but Greg doesn't. I do want to point out that we always let one movie in per year into the top 8, but never more than one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're we want to be challenged, but
Not really.
Once in a while, we want to be challenged.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we still want the popcorn movies, right? Like part of the I think idea behind everything we do is that like we are idiots, but we just like to think about stuff. We're not good at it, but we're
trying.
Yeah. But like if you are going to be dumb and fun, but do that effectively, that's going to win us over.
Yeah.
But if you want to be crunchy and chewy and difficult, but that is also rewarding at the end of it, like then we're going to reward that. But it's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest does not suck. As we have said, it's a good movie.
Is that
No, because it would be really a very, very difficult decision if One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was a shit movie.
Right. It's not shit, and I also think it's crunchier than expected.
Yeah.
I think both when it came out and even more 50 years later, I think there's a lot to chew on what this movie is trying to do and say. A dumb popcorn movie, you're like, oh, it's saying it's bad. Like,
yeah.
Like we talked about on the show nobody heard, so we can repeat ourselves here. I don't know if Ratchet is that villainous, and that made some people very angry at me.
Also, she's not that old, I realized watching the movie this time. Wait a minute.
Babe.
This is, she's actually a really attractive young woman who is just trying to do her fucking job.
Just like Max von Sydow. Why do we love Max von Sydow, but we hate Nurse Ratchet?
We love people's personalities, even if what they do is so shitty. And he's a vile person. But he's got such a great little personality that...
But, like, I do want to point out that I thought that the movie, for the first hour and a half, was incredibly, awesomely complicated about Nurse Ratchet.
Yeah.
What she does in the final act.
Where she basically says, hey, Dorf, go kill yourself.
Yeah, she
We're
really
against
does push.
that.
Yeah, she does push him to it. And that's when Jack Nicholson chokes her, which... That is crazy, too. That's upping it to a whole new level. But also, with that, it does make her... Now I understand why she has her villainous...
Yeah, watching so much of the movie, I was like, this is insane that she's this villain.
Where are you at with Mir, though, Mike? Because I feel like only Greg and I have talked about that.
Yeah, reflect on that.
It is... I think because it's so hard, it's the one I've thought about the least. But then anytime I think about it, you just kind of zone out and start drooling because there's all the scenes you're like, what? Was that ghost lady there? What does that mean? Like, he wasn't there, so he's reflecting on his relationship with his son and just assuming what his son would be like there. Like, I want to rewatch it. It was so good. A movie I've hated for years, Stalker. I want to go back and rewatch that because Tarkovsky. And...
Well... I feel like your first Tarkovsky, if Stalker was your first Tarkovsky, like, you're just going to hate your first Tarkovsky, you know? Like, you just don't understand that, like, I'm being presented ideas that I will not fully grasp ever, and not even approach grasping for 3-4 rewatches. So, the first time you watch the first Tarkovsky, it's like, well, fuck this shit then.
And I was 22 and dumb as hell. I'm going to say 22-year-olds shouldn't watch Tarkovsky, expecting to enjoy it. Like... I guess rip the Band-Aid off, but it's the tearing, but the 1975-ness is very strong. The One Flew not being a piece of shit makes this harder.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a whole segment, and I have no idea.
See, I feel like I know which I think is the better movie, but I feel like there's a clear better candidate for 1975's movie of the year.
There's too many factors.
And either one's going to get smoked by Jaws, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, let him forget. Let him live in the ignorance.
Who knows?
All right, it's voting time, Greg.
Yeah, I love Mirror. It's the better movie, definitely, and it was so exciting and opened up new worlds and everything like that. But One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I expected American Beauty. I expected Fight Club. I expected to...
Driving Miss Daisy, that's not one we brought up yet. Just like shitty movies that
but instead it's actually pretty entertaining, and the ways in which it's questionable are questions the movie itself is posing, and I just think it's more 1975. So One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Ryan,
I have to go Mir. I like these movies are always going to get bounced at some point, and I understand why, but I want to keep them going for as long as I can.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's like all the hopefully listen, go watch it. Don't let our
and go watch it twice. That's which I think is like that. That's a hard sell, right? Like if you're listening to a podcast driving down the road and the guys are like, you're not going to like it the first time. In fact, you'll be angry. But then you watch it a second time, and then you'll probably really start to understand that you don't know that much about it.
It's a harder sell than like, it doesn't get good until the 8th episode.
Yeah.
Like, but like when you watch it the first time, you can't be on your phone just thinking like, the first time doesn't matter. You have to pay attention to every detail so that the second
you have to know
time
what you're confused about.
Even if you speak Russian, you can't be on your phone. There's too much going on visually.
Oh, but one lady plays 2 parts. That's just something that I wish I knew.
Yeah,
going into it.
That is confusing as hell. Also, don't trust a little fence. They're dangerous.
They fall down.
I have to go for all the Greg reasons. I have to go with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Wow. So I should just fuck off then.
Yeah.
We think
I
you
should
should
just
go.
eat shit solo style.
Fuck off.
Fuck off and eat shit solid style.
Is that the movie of the year? Our new tagline?
That's our new tagline.
All right. We are going to take a break and then more awards. Taste buds, what actually matters in a movie? Is it the score? Definitely not.
No.
Cinematography? Nobody knows what that means.
I like to pretend that I do. I'm like, oh, the cinematography was really present.
The mise en scene.
Oh yeah, dude.
I love on Twitter people like, come on, look at this cinematography. It'll be from like the Harry Potter movies, and it's just stills. And I'm like, that I don't know what cinematography is, but I know it's not that. I know it's not gray, drab, shitty
it's supposed to be
stills from Harry
moving
Potter
pictures, right?
We're talking about the Twitter who really loved the shot where Khaleesi had the dragon behind her and the wings came up.
Well, if they love that, here's 18 other things that did that same thing. But what actually makes a movie? It's actors, and it's lead actors, and it's men. It's best actors.
If 1975 taught us anything, it is that.
Here come the boys.
I don't know how many of these movies you guys watched with your SOs, but man, did mine get tired of just any even like a C plot about a woman would be fucking great in any of these movies.
Yeah.
Or I thought you were going to say they got tired of that.
Get
out of here.
Girl
What are
talk.
they trying to do? Devote 10 minutes to a lady?
Your first nominee is Tim Curry from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Talking about shitheads you fall in love with because they're charismatic.
Yeah.
I feel very similar to Jack Nicholson, to Tim Curry, except more.
Is he that bad guy in the movie?
Yes.
He is the bad guy, yeah.
He totally is. He wants to kidnap and coerce and drug. Like, he does some very dubious things here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He Revenge of the Nerds them, which
He's
we've decided
evil.
is rape.
We've talked about through the season how this was maybe not the start, but for us the start of giving typical antagonists the spotlight and 3 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're going to talk about that through this Best Actor award.
Right.
But for Tim Curry to be I don't want to say terrorist, but definitely like committing crimes.
There's definite crimes here.
Yeah, and as you said, like of a sexual nature.
Yeah.
So, which we frown upon.
We frown upon, but for some reason, because he's in those fishnets, we're like, but I mean, they liked it
It's
afterwards.
the same thing as Jack Nicholson and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? It's like it's challenging us by charming us with somebody who we know is evil.
When you think about the rest of this career post 75, did he do okay, or is this sort of like
No, something happened. There must be a Brandon Fraser story there, like because he's good in everything he's in. Legend, Clue, the Command & Conquer games, but like
Roseanne,
Home Alone 2.
But he just he couldn't get over the hump. There has to be something else to that story.
Is it that he is such a genre character actor, and they stopped making these kinds of weird, fun,
that
culty
could be
movies?
it. Like he's not traditionally handsome.
I think he went through a period where he didn't say no to roles, and that might like maybe being a little bit more choosy might have helped. But it's hard to know which comes first, you know?
Yeah.
It worked for Michael Caine. He's fine. Your next nominee is Gene Hackman, the Michael Caine of America in Night Moves.
That's not a bad. I never put that together, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's really good in this, and he's not doing it by like chewing the scenery, and it's like very reserved, which we now know we like in 1975, right?
The 1975 is the year of me going, oh, that's why this person was good at acting. Because
look, more.
I did enjoy The Replacements as a kid, but I wouldn't say I was blown away by Gene Hackman. He does settle into, I'm playing Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Well, except for one movie of the year movie.
Royal Tenenbaums.
I think that if he were to win, this might be the first 2-time Best Actor.
Oh.
Gene Hackman.
That's very exciting.
Great. Your next nominee is Jack Nicholson from One Flew. Like, it's impossible to talk about this movie and how good it is without getting to him very quickly.
Yeah. It's the weight is on his lithe, limber shoulders.
I mean, literally, when we have talked about it in the matchups, like it's been totally centered on his performance and on, do we like him even though he's bad?
If we had a Jack Rushmore, is this the first? Like, is this the most Jack of all time? Not the baby from The Incredibles.
Jack.
Is this the most? Like, is this where the reputation and the legend comes from?
And when he went, unless you ask me to do something else, I now have my go-to setting. I will be doing this.
Yeah.
I will McMurphy it up. Joker is just McMurphy. I did not know that as a kid. But he definitely is. He's just a little less twitchy.
And there's there's nothing left without his performance in this movie. Like there are a lot of other good, interesting performances, but they're not something that you could build the whole movie on.
No, if we Vora it, value over replacement actor, if this is Patrick Wilson, star of The Conjuring,
this is a shitty movie.
This is not a good movie.
Did you guys see Patrick Wilson's pictures for Aquaman 2?
Well, he's just he looks like Castaway?
Yeah. He's just hanging out with Wilson. Do you guys think that Jack Nicholson will show up and accept the award, give a speech? Actually, he's here right now if you guys want to talk to him.
Oh, yeah, let's bring him in.
I'm Jack Nicholson.
I love that you have to do the forehead, Jack.
What do you mean?
Jack comes up and he has to touch his head.
Yeah,
to get
it's real weird. Your next nominee is Al Pacino from Dog Day Afternoon.
Like I just said, this is the year that taught me old actors can act.
Greg fucking shit on this one from minute one of the finale part one. Just Al Pacino gives the best performance we've ever seen. That is how we've been talking about it for 2 weeks now.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say he...
And he's sort of a joke to us at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But in this movie, he almost reinvents acting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I think when we think of good 75 performances, he helped set all of that up and really there's a realness and a presence to his performance where you watch everything fall apart, and it's not his fault, but it is his fault, but it's not only his fault.
You know what it is? It's independent film acting and stage acting all rolled into a studio performance, and that's just, you could only get that in the mid 70s.
Yeah, it's and the two things at once, and throughout the bank scenes, it's you see his fear, his anger, and the summer camp vibes we talked about, where it's just but this is fun teaching them how to play a gun, but it's always one of his eyes is stay scared.
Yeah.
We still have to do an Al Pacino or what do you call it, where we go through the career
retrospective?
Yeah, career retrospective, don't we?
Yeah,
you're going to want to watch Serpico before that one.
The patrons, I think, will get that.
Now, the final nominee is Roy Scheider from Jaws, and I want you guys to tell me, was there only four nominees this year, or does Roy Scheider actually step up and deserve to be nominated in a blockbuster sort of thankless part?
I think, given who Quinn and Dreyfuss are, I think a lesser actor would be I'm going to elbow in here and also try to have personality. I think it's the good team player is undervalued. He's a Brian Husky. He's always going to live a great
Husky boy,
but very rarely be looked at as amazing. But I think he knocks it out of the park.
I think the nomination is a nod to a job well done, but he's not actually even in the running for the award.
What?
So Greg and I feel differently.
When you guys present at the Oscars in the future, please, Greg, say that. What about that time where he looked at the camera and he looked at the camera so well that the camera moved forward and backwards at the same time? That's acting. So your nominees are Tim Curry, Gene Hackman, Jack Nicholson, Al Pacino, and Roy Scheider. Murderer's Row.
Yeah, it's also why did so many of those guys kept acting and Roy Schneider just stopped? I'm sorry, Scheider, not Schneider.
Schneider is from One Day at a Time.
Yes. Your best actor of 1975 is Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon. Surprising. You know what? Nobody at this point.
No, it was so cool to stop thinking about his Dunkin' Donuts commercial for just a couple hours as we watched that movie.
All right, let's go in. What makes a movie actually important? It's not the dudes. It's the ladies. It's time for Best Actress.
Your first nominee is from Tommy, finally.
Hey!
It's that champagne rolling, bean feast herself, and Margaret.
It's the mommy.
It's the mommy Tommy.
The mommy from Tommy. To understand what kind of wackadoo, out of touch with reality film you're in, and to not cartoonify it. Like some people I think stepped over the line in that movie, and I think she grounds the real emotion. And I believe she has flaws. I believe she cares for Tommy, and I believe she is fine with rolling in champagne and beans. It's all believable.
You know what? I think it's a great point, and I think that the stepfather, Oliver Reed, who is like this classic British actor, who I think thought that he was doing the movie justice by being super over the top, super yelly and big, went too far. You have to treat the screenplay like it's the current truth, you know? Not like, oh, I'm going to go out. You know who this reminds me of? Alfred Molina of Spider-Man 2. Just like, I'm going to be a little bit bigger, but I'm also going to respect the material.
Yes.
Does that sound weird?
Not be a Tex Avery cartoon.
Exactly. And so many villains in superhero movies are like Oliver Reed is the stepfather in this movie, and Anne Margaret is the Alfred Molina.
Yeah, she's just like, no, I can do this. And she fucking does. Yeah. I think she's the most watchable thing in that movie.
Your next nominee is from Shampoo. This is Julie Christie. This is the biggest affection of George, the one that he actually proposes to at the end.
The X-Flame Jackie.
Oh yeah, the British chick. Yeah, she does a good job. I think Goldie Hawn just overshadows her by so much that, you know. But she and the dude have like a more complicated relationship.
I think the important
they're
thing
divorced, right?
They used to be together.
To be just together. But I think all of that, they captured that affection you can have for somebody where you're like, well, we were together when we were 20s, and then I turned 25 and said, you're not good for me. But shit, I still love you.
I know,
and that's
or
fucked up.
At least want you,
right?
And I think that's why Julie Christie is one of the most interesting characters in the movie, is because when people look at George the same way that people look at Warren Beatty, like they implant their fantasies and their dreams. You know, like he is just like a blank slate, and Goldie Hawn and Felicia, the girlfriend and the older mistress, they sort of change him, like say, oh, just do this fantasy for me. And Julie Christie, Jackie, sees him for who he actually is, which is why the movie works so well, because she can't help be attracted to him in certain ways, but then ultimately knows, oh no, I'm fucking out, bro. Like I'm not doing this for the rest of my life.
And I think it's why the way she plays it is to like let the character have the flaws, to be cheating on your best friends, even though you used to fuck him now. Like I think all of that pain and desire is in her throughout the movie.
Right.
Like she always kind of knows she's a piece of shit in a movie filled with people trying to convince themselves they are not.
Right. And ultimately, like, doesn't her romantic end story is she kind of cashes out, right? Yeah. She like goes for the money.
This is after like getting shit-faced and trying to blow George at the dinner table, you know? Your next nominee, Redford, not nominated for Best Actor. Surprising?
Oh. No.
It's Faye Dunaway.
Greg.
You know, Faye Dunaway has like a tough line to walk here, which is this line between prisoner and like love interest. And
don't we all?
Her sort of ethereal, like still scared, very scared, but also like very open and interested. I think that her performance could sink the movie for more people.
Yeah.
If she didn't do such a good job walking that line. I think more people would feel about it the way that I do.
And I think that we have this image of Faye Dunaway from like Network or Chinatown or Bonnie and Clyde, just like ballsy, brassy, you know, broad who like takes no prisoners. And this is again the quiet, a little cold performance, but like she stays in her corner, she stays smarter, she stays one step ahead. You know, this is honestly probably a supporting performance.
Yeah.
It's just there's not enough lead females to do this. But still is such, like, when you think about the movie, her limited minutes overpower my memory.
For sure. That's why on the normal shows we had the award is pound for pound performance.
Right.
And I definitely think she is the weightiest performance in this movie. The way she opens up, she is like a quiet, normal person, and you can watch her change from scared to being thrilled by what's going on. She's like, it is the American Beauty's on my brain now because we talked about, but it is a better version of the story of like, fuck normal life. Now I'm doing this, and this is more important.
I mean, she goes from being like an observer to a participant.
Yeah,
right? Like as a photographer, she's always not a part of this the scene.
Greg.
But then she like becomes the center of it. It's sick because he's kidnapped her, but it does make her the center of the action.
And it doesn't like whether you regardless of how sick you think the kidnapping is or how much that changes your opinion of the movie, it doesn't change her character and her performance.
Right.
You know, like it's still amazing and together, and she never betrays the character of the actress. Never betrays that.
Correct.
Your next nominee is Louise Fletcher from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, your Oscar winner.
Quiet role, reserved role, Oscar-winning role.
Yeah, I think that is surprising. It's an interesting performance, but it does. Is there enough there to give her the award? Really?
I mean, again, this is, I think, closer to a supporting performance.
Yeah. I mean, it's like literally, right? Like she's just there it seems like a lot of times to be yelled at by Jack Nicholson and to antagonize him.
But the fact that her reputation is so villainous, and then on this rewatch that we just did, it's so complicated and interesting, I think it's just an attribute to the actor.
Yeah.
Her scene of saying, "Do not take McMurphy from my thing, from my
The Institute.
Ward.
I want him to stay here," and the camera closes in on her as she slowly realizes, "What am I doing? Is that a good idea?
Am I becoming cartoonishly evil?"
I thought that was. I mean, that's why she gets the nominee.
Yeah, no, you know what? That's a really good point. Is that throughout watching the movie, you don't know until the end where if she's just a middle manager who's put upon, or if she is villainous.
And I mean, they asked her opinion. You know, like, what does that mean back then for somebody in her job as a woman? That's probably, I want to be important. I want to make change, you know? Your final nominee is from Mir. It's Margarita Tarakova. And guys, don't Eddie Murphy this. It's not just that she played two roles. There's got to be other reasons why she was nominated.
Well, the fat suit, which we frown upon these days, but then...
It's very hard, I think, ultimately for a performer to make you forget that you're watching somebody act. And she does it. Whoever this woman is, she disappears into the role of the mother and then the wife. And it's a different type of acting and performing. And
does she act in a way that you know they're two different characters?
Well, not in, like, I would say a more modern way of, like, when somebody plays twins and one has like a southern
I'm
twang.
like this,
and she's. I mean, I would question, like, is she definitively two different characters? You know, it's the same thing in Green Knight, to bring that up again. But there's an actress that plays two roles, and is it actually a different character even? Like, you know, because
which is another part of memory, like,
right?
Yeah,
you know, there are times where I will remember Mike being somewhere before I met Mike, and that's just how memory works.
And very unfortunately, as Itu Mama Tambien taught us, like, that seems to be the problem.
Right.
Is that you have to be one and then the other, usually to the same person.
Right.
And so, like, there is this flattening of everyone who, like, ends up in those roles.
We all just want a mommy wife,
I guess. Yeah. And it's like, movies taught me that, I guess. It's fucked up, but I guess that's what we want.
Well, you taught you that, and then you found movies to back that up.
See, it's normal.
The other thing, too, is that I get the impression that Tarkovsky is not a big acting fan. You know, like, actors are tools like cameras. And I feel like he's one of those guys who is just always on the set being like, less. And it's hard to pick out, like, standout performances from Stalker or his other movies, you know? Like, they're just sort of tools that move the story along. And I don't know if this is the best performance of 75, but I would say that this is the best performance of any Tarkovsky movie I've ever seen. Like, this is the time where he was like, no, fucking bring it.
Yeah, I think she's undeniable and really helps make this confusing movie feel less cold and confusing.
Yeah. And man, I really needed that at some point.
Yeah.
I needed
She's
my
our mommy wife who holds her hand.
All right, so your nominees are Anne Margaret from Tommy, Julie Christie from Shampoo, Faye Dunaway from 3 Days of the Condor, Louise Fletcher from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Margarita Tarakova from Mir. I do think that all of our shit talking on, you know, the lack of female agency throughout the season, those are a solid 5.
Strong crew. The final envelope, please.
You have to learn how to do envelopes, man.
Yeah, man, you don't know how to open them.
Margarita Tarakova from Mirror.
She played 2 roles.
That feels good.
Yeah. 2 roles. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the final battle.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening so far. And let me just tell you that everything ahead of this commercial is much better than what came before it. That's my guarantee. While I have you here, let me tell you about a website. It's called yourpopfilter.com, and it's everything you need that's related to Pop Filter. Everything Mike, everything Ryan, everything Greg, everything Cassie, everything is there at yourpopfilter.com. While you're there, go to yourpopfilter.com/Amazon. Make that your new Amazon bookmark and do your shopping from there. That way, we get a little piece of the action, and Amazon doesn't. Make sure you're also listening to everything that Pop Filter has to offer, which includes the Superhero Show, a podcast that covers every single TV show that's based on a comic book or comic book property, and Movie of the Year, where we sit down and try and figure out what is the single greatest movie of any given year. That's Superhero Show, that's Movie of the Year, and that's yourpopfilter.com. Rate, subscribe, review. Bye!
Taste buds, it all comes down to this. Nothing else matters. You could have just started listening from this point on.
Did you guys hear about that 53-track Black Album cover album?
Including Nothing Else Matters. Did 4 different people cover Enter
every
Sandman?
song. Every song, there's 4 versions of it. 53
Why?
tracks. Well, one of them's Phoebe Bridgers, Mike. So
is that one
please
good?
be careful.
What did she cover?
Enter Sandman.
Now, see that? I bet that's interesting. But, like, then I don't need 3 other Enter Sandmans. Like, you're watering it down. That's a weird thing to do. This has become like a Metallica thing. They're like, what if you did even more?
Yeah, just more.
Just a double
Metallica.
disc. No.
Mortalica. Is that the name of the album?
No.
Now, Mortalica. I was actually just about to listen to that album. And I scrolled over one more spot, and I saw the new Andrew WK. And I put on the new Andrew WK, and friends, I am here to tell you that was the smartest choice I ever made. It's just one version of each of the songs. He just does, I guess that he does his own songs, and he just does a different one every time.
Weird.
You can do that? I mean,
Lame.
Not
this
a
is
different one
fan
every
of Andrew WK, but I mean, it's a different. He really gets into the nitty and gritty and details of what's going on at this party.
Yeah, it's such a good album. You definitely check it out. I would definitely say check it out.
Going back to my bit, if you ever talked to a Metallica fan, the only thing that they don't like is other bands besides Metallica. Like, who is this album for?
Right.
They're
movie trailers for the next 20 years.
Oh, that's for sure.
Are
The
we
slow
doing
versions
that
of songs.
thing where we deflect from talking about the thing we're supposed to be
What?
talking
No.
about because we're afraid of the emotional stakes of the conversation we're about to have?
I don't think we're doing that. I just turned 35, and is now when I start going to the doctor to look for colon cancer?
I think you could do no with your colon. Yeah, you probably want to get in there early.
You have a legendary colon.
Yeah,
Get in there early and often.
Yeah, you got an active little system there. I think probably you want to.
I would just have half of it taken out surgically. Just have a semicolon.
My wife is convinced that I was born without part of that, and that's the way I am. The way I am.
So why are you the way
in
you
every
are?
way?
In every way.
Wow, like your personality and stuff.
Well, at least that it's I take a bite of food and have to immediately leave the room.
Goodbye, everybody. Time for this to spray out of me now.
Patton, they changed Patton to say, like, crap through a mic. That's what he says now.
Crap through a mic?
Yeah. Like how you podcast.
Ouch. I'm mic through crap. We got to vote.
Okay.
Or I guess we could talk about Dog Day Afternoon versus One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Well, Jaws versus Beer would have been interesting. You guys fucked that up. This is a fucking slam dunk.
Well, this battle should have been Jaws versus Dog Day.
Yeah, I mean that's what we wanted. That's how we would hope that it would go. But we don't control the seating.
You know what?
We don't.
Let's just put that segment here,
Yeah.
editor, and then
Just flip and floop.
But these are two 75 as fuck movies. It's definitely like our take on cinema versus the Hollywood establishment's take,
We're
right?
pretty cool.
Because you've got the Oscar darling versus the movie that we declared from the first second we saw it would definitely be 1975's movie of the
Yeah,
year.
over the credits when you're just getting to know New York. I was like, Dog Day wins. That's
Yeah.
pretty 75.
now I do want to point out that it was a bunch of credits about a hot New York, and it wasn't hot damn summer in the city. That feels
Yeah,
isn't
a
that the
missed
song that you're supposed to
opportunity.
use there?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a
You
missed
know what?
opportunity.
You're right, Bunk.
One flew.
I'm throwing it out.
You're doing it, One Flew. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much there is left to say. It feels like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a good movie, better than what we thought it would be. Jack Nicholson's performance carried it so far, all the way to here,
I'm stunned it got here.
so that it could meet up with a superior performance.
And I do want to point out to all the listeners that what these two fucking, and I'm so sorry to use this language, these fucking knuckleheads did
Whoa!
was they chose One Flew Over Mir to give Dog Day the victory because they knew that it would lose to Mir. You guys game the system,
No.
and you will. I hope that you never sleep again.
It wouldn't lose to Mir. It didn't lose to Jaws, you little baby bitch.
I make I made that decision the same way I make every decision. I look inside myself, and I see a version of myself going, not knowing what the answer is, and then I just make something up.
Yeah, I made it the same way. I didn't think about it at all, and I panicked and said a word.
Yeah, ultimately, someone says, what do you decide? And you just go with what you know the truth is in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? And honestly, that's what I'm going to do here. And then, like, Dog Day is going to be 1975's movie of the year. And that's right.
Yeah.
Like, we got to the right decision. It could be that it beats Jaws now or that it beat Jaws last round. But this is 1975's movie of the year.
It was nominated for Best Picture, Actor, Supporting Actor, Chris Sarandon, not John Cazale. Best Director, Best Film Editing, and one Best Screenplay. And then One Flew, obviously, legendarily won everything.
Yeah.
So,
But maybe not everything.
Not everything.
When it's all said and done.
Here, I guess we legally have to say, what's your vote, Ryan?
my vote is obviously. Wait, can I do Jaws?
No.
Nashville?
Look, you could do Dark Horse Nashville.
Listen, it's highly unusual, but just between me and you, if you said it, I think we would just go with it.
New battler jumps into the arena.
No, you don't have to have your favorite win. You just have to be stoked about the victory, and
Yeah.
I would be stoked with a Dog Day victory.
Yeah, I think if you tell people, oh, Dog Day won, they're going to be like,
no, everyone's going to say, what the fuck, Jaws?
Yeah.
Everyone.
And
Everyone.
I'm going to say, go fucking watch Dog Day Afternoon and change your
yeah,
life.
and then come back to me. And then if you still have a problem,
See you
I'll
in
apologize.
2.5 hours, I'll be here.
How about I say I'm sorry right to your fucking face?
Ready to fight.
Huh? I don't care, dude. I'll apologize to you. I'll apologize to your friends. I'll apologize to your mom. Dude, I do not give a fuck. I'm sorry.
You go off.
Yeah, dude.
You're the apology king.
Also, IMDb says that Al Pacino won the BAFTA for Dog Day Afternoon for Godfather Part 2.
Oh,
Those Brits, man.
that's how good he is.
What do you say, Mike?
Oh, Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah, right? Well, congratulations, Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah, you're 1975's Movie of the Year. Woo! Joining the illustrious group that includes
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut,
Die Hard. LA Confidential. Brazil.
E2 Mama Tambien.
No.
Roma.
Roma.
E.T. didn't win that year?
I don't think so.
Man, these are good movies. Movies are awesome. That's the real...
Honestly, we should start writing some of this stuff
Lesson.
down. Let's think about committing some of this to paper.
Oh, so we don't have to just always...
So then we don't have
remember
to be
a
like,
list?
wait, what? Because when there was like 2 or 3, we were really good at remembering, and now
We've done
there
it for a long time.
are like 8.
Deathly Hollows Part 2? I don't
Yeah,
know,
that
fucking-
won a couple of billiards.
All right, that has been our show. That has been 1975.
Can we thank all of the guests?
Yes.
Do you remember them all, Mike?
Hard pivot into thanking the guests.
Oh, sorry. Did I cut you off?
It's fine. It's
No,
what
no,
you do.
Please go.
That has been our
Smoothly
show.
transition.
That has been our season. We could not have done this season without so many lovely folks who took their hard-earned quarantine to spend some time watching movies and talking about them with us, which includes Van, who probably has social media you can go check out, Kate Dellis at kate.dellis.funny.kind, Nate Regolia, check out his
Kate and Nate.
Vague Idea. Kate and Nate. Kate has MILF. Another, if you like movies and want more Kate, go check out the MILF podcast. Nate Regolia is a Vague Idea. Who else was there? Evan Johnson. They're probably up to something out there on the internet. Taylor.
Caitlin.
Cassie. No, Cassie never. We just assume. Caitlin, Books.
McKenna.
Yeah, McKenna stepped up to watch Sallow with us.
Yeah.
What a fucking champ.
What a trooper.
And
Or
again,
just
like
call
Mike
me-
was not perturbed. by
Yeah,
anything.
I was both. I'm most disturbed by mine and Max.
Books is
Shrugs.
unflappable.
Yeah.
Well, she glued those pages together. Did we get them all?
Stephanie and Renee.
Stephanie and Renee, our
Your
wives,
sweet wives. Very good.
were on the show.
Me.
Greg, thank you for guesting. Ryan, thank you for guesting. It has been a pleasure to host.
Yeah, good job, Mike. Are you glad to put down the mic?
I want to compete for friend love. That's where
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable.
That's the thing is that, I mean, grass is always greener, but when you're competing, just give me the host. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so much easier.
I guess that means officially I'm now the host of the show again.
Like we started.
Yeah.
Is how we will end.
Wow.
Back
full
in the day.
circle.
And I would like to announce as my first act as host.
Shit.
It's the power left so abruptly for me. I was not ready for it.
I saw it come out of your gut.
Crazy. You sucked my soul out.
Next season, 1991.
Now, Greg, why? Is this important to you at all?
91, I was 10 years old.
Is that the best year for movies?
Yes, for me.
10-year-old?
Yeah, when you're 10 years old. My mom said I could see some rated R movies, including Terminator 2. I saw Terminator 2 in a packed New York because we went back to New York
City
theater, and it was like raucous and people were yelling, and I was so excited. I can still remember the feeling of the house lights coming down, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking see Terminator 2 right now.
This is a life-changing event.
Yeah, dude.
Did you know what Terminator was?
I had not even seen Terminator.
Yeah.
But there was such a crazy ad campaign starting in 90. Like in the summer of 90, there was just the da-da-dun-da-dun, da-da-dun-da-dun, and then they showed the T2 or the T1000 head. And I just remember being 9 years old and being like, our destinies will intertwine, metalhead, whatever you are. But then I couldn't see Terminator because it was rated R. My parents were like, no.
Well, there's titty in that one.
Yeah, and there's actual titty, yeah.
But watching T2 as a 10-year-old, it's you grab onto that proverbial chain link fence in front of you and you let the fire blast you to death.
And like there were special effects that, and we'll to go over this in the show, but like I did not know were real that could happen that happened in this movie.
Blew your mind.
Computer effects and practical effects, quite frankly. But there's other great 91
Sleeping with the Enemy.
Sleeping with the Enemy. Good fun movie there.
Hook.
We're not doing fucking Hook.
We're doing
Hook.
Secret of the Use.
Hook is going to at least be the
Patreon.
the bonus show. Yeah, for sure.
Hook sucks, guys.
Hook is, but it's important to us.
A formative movie. Legit formative movie to me. No, not Hook. Is anything you do it
Robin Hood,
for
Prince of
you.
Thieves.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
in the bracket for sure.
Definitely.
Fucking, I watched that over and over.
You know
again
what's
as a
weird
kid.
is 3 times ever the Oscars have given the top 5 awards of the same movie, and we're jumping from one year to the next, the third time it happened. And Robin Hood actually, I don't want to say it won 0 Oscars. I don't know.
Well, no, the other bigger movies won Oscars, and then Robin Hood came in and they took them.
and gave them out to the lesser movies. It is The Silence of the Lambs.
The Silence of the Lambs, yeah.
Ooh.
And is I don't know if that's the number 1 seed, but I mean, does that have a chance of taking it all down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Big time.
That's
Big time.
I think similarly to Jaws, that is one where you remember the hits of the film and then you go back and watch it, you're like, holy shit, this movie.
It never stopped being great. Yeah, that's an amazing movie.
Thelma and Louise, Addams Family, Point Break, Boys in the Hood,
Point Break. Oh my
Barton Fink.
Barton Fink. Barton Fink. Barton Fink.
I'm very excited for this year, and us doing our damnedest to like control our nostalgia, but not being able to is what I'm most excited for.
I am very excited.
What's the likelihood that What About Bob gets in here?
Not
Richard
very
Dreyfuss's reign on the show is coming to an end.
What about Bob?
What about Jifk?
Jifk?
Jifk.
What is Jifk?
Oliver Stone movie, Kevin Costner.
Oh, the JFK.
Oh.
Yeah, that potentially.
That's a great movie.
Is it?
That's a good movie.
Backdraft is a movie I've only been on the ride from.
Oh,
I've
man.
never seen it.
Backdraft is an experience.
There's so many movies that like we're gonna be fucking so bummed, like most of the ones that Mike mentioned, but that don't make it, but we just can't. Like The Rocketeer, like the Last Boy Scout.
You don't think you don't think your thumb's on that scale enough to push the Last Boy
I mean,
Scout
I'm gonna
in?
cheat my balls off.
Sure.
But
The Doors, I've been told that's good. I don't want to watch it.
No.
Hot Shots. I have heard that 91 has a particular sheen on it. So
Ha! 91.
Dragon Ball Z, Cooler's Revenge. We all remember that hit.
Hudson Hawk, An American Tale 2, Fievel Goes West. This is an amazing year.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey?
We're going to get into all of that and more when we pick up the 1991 season. Mike, you have been the host of this season. Is there anything you want to say before you hand off that gauntlet to me?
It's been a pleasure and an honor. And keep watching those movies.